Guys, this is Paris Feltner, and the theorist I chose was Jerome Bruner. There's his picture, most recent picture. So Jerome was born on October 1st, 1915 in New York City, New York, and passed away on June 5th, 2016. So a fun fact about Jerome, he was actually born blind due to cataracts, and when he was 2 years old, he had a surgery that corrected that. So to talk about his main theory, which was discovery learning, we have to talk about what's up here in the pink, and that's the proposed three modes of representation, which are inactive representation, which are action-based, iconic representation, which are image-based, and symbolic representation, which are language-based. And then I just have a quote in the bottom there. We begin with the hypothesis that any subject can be taught effectively in some intellectually honest form to any child at any stage of development. So we'll talk about all those in a minute. So the first act of representation is inactive. So inactive appears first. It involves encoding action-based information and storing it in our memory. For example, in the form of movement as a muscle memory, a baby might remember the action of shaking a rattle. The child represents past events through motor responses. For example, an infant will shake a rattle which has just been removed or dropped, as if the movements themselves are expected to produce the accustomed sound. And this is not just limited to children. Many adults can perform a variety of motor tasks, typing, sewing a shirt, operating a lawnmower, that they would find difficult to describe in iconic or symbolic form. The next one is iconic, and that is where information is stored visually in the form of images, a mental picture in the mind's eye. For some, this is conscious. Others say they don't experience it. This may explain why, when we are learning a new subject, it is often helpful to have diagrams or illustrations to accompany the verbal information. So that's why I have the little blocks that you might have used in math. That helps to visualize the concept of a math topic. The next one is symbolic, and that is 7 years onward. Oh, I don't think I said iconic is 1 to 6 years, but it was on the screen. So this develops last. This is where information is stored in the form of a code or symbol, such as language. This is the most adaptable form of representation, for actions and images have a fixed relation to that which they represent. Dog is a symbolic representation of a single class. Symbols are flexible in that they can be manipulated, ordered, classified. So the user isn't constrained by actions or images. In the symbolic stage, knowledge is stored primarily as words. Mathematical symbols, as pictured in on the screen, or in other symbol systems. Bruner's constructivist theory suggests it is effective when faced with new material to follow a progression from inactive to iconic to symbolic representation. This holds true even for adult learners. A true instructional designer, Bruner's work also suggests that a learner, even of a very young age, is capable of learning any material so long as the instruction is organized appropriately, in sharp contrast to beliefs of Piaget and other stage theorists. So that brings me to the differences between Bruner and Piaget, just real fast. The difference is that Bruner's modes are not related in terms of which presuppose the one that precedes it. So while sometimes one mode may dominate in usage, they coexist. So basically, the quote that I had right here, we begin with the hypothesis that any subject can be taught effectively in some intellectually honest form to any child at any stage of development. So Bruner's saying that no matter what the age, no matter what stage they're in, we can teach them harder concepts, but just appropriately of their age. So now on to the main, discovery learning. So what he's saying in discovery learning is students are active learners who construct their own knowledge. Bruner adopts a different view and believes a child of any age is capable of understanding complex information. So in the text that I looked up, it says, the concept of discovery learning implies that students construct their own knowledge for themselves, also known as a constructivist approach. The role of the teacher should not be to teach information by rote learning, but instead to facilitate the learning process. This means that a good teacher will design lessons that help students discover the relationship between bits of information. To do this, a teacher must give students the information they need, but without organizing for them. The use of spiral curriculum can aid the process of discovery learning. So what I got out of discovery learning was that it's our job as teachers to give the information, but not organize the information for students, because that can disrupt their prior knowledge, what they had prior to coming into your class. And that is going to help them learn because they're going to learn based on their past experiences, not the experiences that you put in their mind. So moving on. So contributions and limitations of his theory. So a contribution that I came up with to education would be the idea of having a teacher facilitate instead of stand in the front of the class and tell the students what to think. So what I was saying before, how they need to, facilitate, give them the information they need, but not tell them what to think. So a limitation is the idea that you can teach all children the same complex idea at any age. I can see limitations for that because you can't teach a 2-year-old multiplication. So applications, I already kind of went over this, implies that students construct their own knowledge for themselves. And yeah, that's about it, all I got. This is the website that I used, and I hope you got some information out of it. Bye, guys.